So when I first started coaching, I started with middle school and high school. So I never really thought about the male dominance as a thing until I started coaching in college, and even more so now coaching professional athletes. I think when you are coaching high school, when you're coaching kids, it seems natural and normal just to coach kids as a woman. And then it's almost like when you get into higher and higher levels, it's like almost like you shouldn't be. Like women really can coach kids, but they can't coach grown professionals. I think coaching in college was great because as a female you can relate to all the athletes. You can relate to the female athletes because you have been a female athlete, and you relate to the male athletes as like a mother figure. They're away from home. But it's almost like once you get to that point, a lot of women don't continue on to coach them as elite athletes. I think someone that I look at and I really respect is Ann Spatha, Wade Vanderkirk's coach, because she is the epitome of what we don't look for in a professional coach. She's a woman and she's even older. And I think I look to people like her in my new profession as coaching professional athletes to say, hey, she can do it. It doesn't really matter what people think. It doesn't really matter how many men coach the sport. We all know that it is a predominantly male-dominated field, but women are as knowledgeable as men. I think one of the reasons why women don't coach as much is because we are mothers and we do have children, and you do have to travel and you do have to split your time. And as fathers, yes, it's important to be there for your children, but we all know that little kids want their mom when anything goes wrong or right. So I think we have to make decisions and say, hey, step up and go for it. I was scared. I think every level that I went, the next level, I was always like, what if I can't do it? What if this goes wrong? And most of the reasons why I was able to do it was because I had support. And funny enough, I had support of male coaches as well. Like my high school coach, Charles Leathers, was the one who told me I could be a high school coach. And Bob Kersey is the one who told me I could be a collegiate and a professional coach. And of course, there's so many other women that I look up to in the college system, Jeanette Bolden, Amy Dean, Carol Smith-Gilbert, Karen Dennis, Terry Crawford. The list goes on and on. And so I think sometimes we miss all those people. We miss the women who are actually creating big teams, who are making differences in athletes' lives. So yes, it's predominantly male, but I think that if women believe in themselves more and have more support from each other, I think that it can be almost equal. I think that athletes will start to look at women as great coaches too. I think some athletes are afraid to be coached by a female not because they don't think they can do it, but because of what it looks like, of how many men are putting athletes on podiums and putting people in the stands to watch these athletes, and not realizing that, what, if a man can do it, why can't a woman? If a man has knowledge, why doesn't a woman? If a man played sports and a woman played sports, what's the difference? So I think it's just going to take more women to step up and not be afraid to go out and go for it, because they expect us to fail. So really, what do we have to lose? There are so many female role models in the sport of athletics. I think that someone that really probably stands out to everyone is Joanna, the greatest, female athlete of the century. She has to stand out. Not only was she a phenomenal athlete, but she went through a lot of diversity. A lot of people said certain things about how she looked, and she had to fight a lot of stereotypes. Competing. And then she has given back so much of her time, her efforts, her money to her foundation, to people across the globe. She's a humanitarian and she is a pioneer. She was there in the beginning. She struggled through the beginning when there wasn't a lot of money in the sport and the travel wasn't easy and all these hard things that she had to deal with. So I think Jackie's a fantastic role model. And she's just been honest the whole time. She's always spoken her truth. And I love that she is an athlete and that she's part of athletics, and I can consider her as a mentor and a role model for myself. I look at another heptathlete, Jessica Ennis. I think that when you look at her, I think people would say, "Oh, she's so little. How can she do all these things? She's not tough. She's not strong." And then you just watch her, and you watch the grace in which she performed, and the grit and the drive and how hard she worked. Because she wasn't one of the tallest heptathletes. She wasn't the one that looked like she would win, but she was so determined, and just her work ethic had to be just insane. And I think I would just love to be at a training with her just to kind of see the work that she put in. But it was just amazing. She was always smiling and gracious. And I think, again, watching her go event by event, and just a lot of pressure that was probably on her to win and to be this great athlete. And she handled it with dignity and grace. And so loved watching her. And I think a current female that is the role model for the ages is Allison Felix. She's just across the board. She's hands down one of the greatest, not only greatest athletes of all time, but greatest people. You know, I've known Allison since she was 18, just a baby. And one thing that I always tell people is that beyond the medals, beyond all the success and the fame, she has not changed who she is. She's the same person, and she's humble, and she's just shown that you can be a GOAT and be kind and be approachable and human. And I think that her latest thing that she's done, obviously having this baby and training to come back, it's just been phenomenal. But the amazing thing is watching her as a mother, because it's scary for anyone, and I think it was scary for her. And she's handling it with that strength that she's always had. She's never been afraid. She never backs down from a competition. And now she's got the biggest challenge of her life, being a mother. And she's going to show the world that she can do both. And I'm super proud of her. And she's an absolutely fantastic role model for the youth. The advice I would give to my younger self is the advice that I would give to anyone now. The advice that I continue to give to young athletes, to young girls. And that's just believe in yourself and keep pushing. Never back down from anything. Never let another person determine your fate. And just, you know, when you start something, finish it. And I think that I've made some, not great decisions in my life, and I think that we all have. And so I would also say to myself, don't worry about the mistakes you've made. Don't worry about the times that you've fallen and the times that you failed, because those are the times that are going to make you stronger. And without those, you never know how strong you really are or how strong you can be. So I would, again, just tell myself, never give up, and the future is bright. It's as bright as you want it to be. My dream job growing up was to be a teacher. I thought I was going to be a fourth grade teacher, to be exact. I thought I was going to be a fourth grade teacher and a mother. And one of those things came true, but I always wanted to always teach. I just loved my teachers. I thought, wow. First of all, I didn't know they were real people. Never realized that they had like homes and they went home to their families. I think a lot of kids never really realized that teachers have lives, but let me stay on track. I just thought my teachers were amazing. And I loved my fourth grade teacher, Mrs. Martinez. And I thought that 10-year-olds were amazing, because I was 10 when I decided that I was going to be a teacher. So I thought I was going to be a teacher. And I think that really pushed me into being a coach, because I was an athlete, and that was everything. Being an athlete, running, jumping, hurling, doing all those fantastic things. And now I found a way to stay involved in athletics and still be a teacher, because coaching is teaching. Coaching is nurturing, coaching is mentoring. And for me, that's the most fulfilling thing that I can do. Because outside of being a mother, of course, the things that you teach your own children, you can use in the life of coaching. So to be able to make any difference or any impact in any athlete's lives that I coach is rewarding, whether it's on the track, in the classroom, in their personal life. Because there's so much more to coaching than performing. There's so much more to coaching than gathering medals. Ultimately, those are the goals, right? The goal is to win. But if you don't learn a lesson in the process, if you don't figure out while you're doing it in the process, then a medal might not be enough for you. And you'll search your whole life trying to figure out what is enough for you. So if you're going to be an athlete, and if you want to train, and if you want to work hard, remember that there are lessons in the failures, there are lessons in the losses, there are lessons in the wins, and you're going to learn lessons from your competitors. And I've learned so much from my competitors, and I continue to learn from all the coaches that inspire me and that support me and that give me advice and that are there for me if and when I need them. So my dream job went from being a fourth grade teacher to being a coach.